Johnny with his camera, you've got to watch him.
Λικουργό μου, δώσε μου την τσάντα.
You will be divided into two groups. The first group will go in German language, the second one in English. And the German guided tour will start at 11:30. So it's in 10 minutes about, and the English guided tour will start more than an hour later. So in quarter to 12.
Ты колбасненькая.
Куда мы тоже идем?
Хотя нам, кажется, все равно.
Что ли?
Немецкая, типа, наш текст
А зачем я их снимала тогда?
А мы сейчас, уже мы все равно немецкий.
Все равно ничего не понимаю.
У нас переводчик. Тему пью пока дальше. Не исключаю. Андрей ушел с немецкой группой?
Нет, хорошо, остался.
Школьный год.
Чудесно.
Там снимать нельзя. Километр от России Ленина. Снимать нельзя. 20 тысяч чего-то. Да. 20 тысяч чего-то там они делают.
Снимать нельзя?
Нет. Там холодно. Я полиглот, я вообще...
А это что такое? Что в городе?
А там за один
А какой неизвестно.
It's American, it's American. No, it's a
So like our museum. But first of all, we got the other part from 2004. We have the new one, so it's the building in glass. So during our tour, you can see both of them. So first of all, you can see this old method of fermentation, and then maybe what's more interesting for you, you can also taste the beer which was gate, which is on every label of our beer. And it's also called historical gate because it was built on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of our company. And in the upper yellow part there were two tanks, one for drinkable and one for supply water. As in the past it used to be the highest point in the brewery, so they pumped water into these two tanks and then they supplied the whole brewery. Cold, so they could keep beer cold even during transport. Also over there you can see 3 old barrels. You can see more of these barrels during our tour in our cellars. They were used in the past. This is this old method of fermentation of our beer. Even if we keep this old method in our cellars, let's say now it's only small limited production. It's just for you, for our customers. You can see the old method. But we can say that now. Okay, so just now we are in front of our new packaging hall, which was opened in November 2006. And in this packaging hall, we serve beer in 2 bottles and cans. So you can see it in a moment. And the Radegast, the first one, which is the brewery near Ostrava, eastern part of our country. You know the blue one, the very one line for filling cans. On the first line, we fill into the returnable or recycled bottles, and on the second line into new bottles. You can see the lines, they are nearly the same. The old bottles, so it's used like a big dishwasher for bottles. So it's 33 cans, so it's from 31 to 41,000 per hour. Always fill in beer into bottles or cans because during the filling time they have to put in and so on, and it takes at least 1 shift. Which is the case definitely on the first line. You can have a look on the second line, but definitely the third line was running. Company supplies companies like our brewery with the machinery. Beer is pasteurized, and when beer comes to this packaging hall, it's already filtered. Beer is first of all pasteurized, and it's done here in the system of pipes. So beer is heated here.
How do you
Это нам дадут попробовать. Вон еще один человек. 3 человека. Лабораторию покупки.
famous beer, Pilsner Urquell, began in Pilsen on October the 5th, 1842, when young Bavarian
Это не настоящие туристы?
Нет, налетающие. Ну, настоящие раньше были.
Mold, and they transferred 1/3 to those kettles down where it was boiled. They filter liquid. Here the beginning is up mold. And 1/3 of this mixture is transferred deep into this hot kettle 3 times. It takes nearly 4 hours. And then when it's finished,
А язычок? А язык высуни. Сколько здесь? А язык?
Согревают до 600 градусов вот эту вот смесь.
of them. But you know, at all times there are different recipes, different methods. Definitely the method of fermentation was completely different. So also the final product, the beer, was very different, and quite often the quality was. If we turn to the right, you can see it's nice white corridor, but in fact there is no beer. So which way? This used to be the first part of the first fermentation, and 800 liters. And in the lower part of every barrel, you can see quite small door, which was used mainly for cleaning. It means that beer stayed natured 1 month in the big barrel. Then when it was ready, they fill it into small barrels like this one. So this wasn't the job for brewmaster, but yeah, you can see 5, 5.5, 6, and so on. Sometimes it's slightly less, as for example here you can see 8, 8.3, 8.5, and this morning 8.7. So here it goes from 5 till 9 degrees. Then at
So nervös.
Ой, тебе девица. Улыбается надо идти. Конечно, улыбаешься. Два стакана взял, улыбается.
Репортаж.
cheers.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Народ, ну давайте, что?
Okay, so this is really very 79 hectoliters. You know, these big barrels, they were very popular in 1990s when these small windows and side beds were very like this. I would say that if this is like a price.
He's frozen, eh?
Going to stimulate and enable us to share our views, share our experiences, and the whole aim is really to try and keep the breed strong here. And he's going to be ably assisted by Maureen from Australia, just to take it wider, because our breed is now really a global breed. It's no good us thinking UK, this is the dog. No, Europe, no. It's got to be worldwide, and we've really all got to be singing from the same hymn sheets. We've all got to have the same ideals, the same goal. So with that in mind, Mark's come up with this idea, if I can just read the title. Just give me the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Anyway, it's on there. It's all about the difference with the standard as the FCI see it, because they made a change on the 5th of January. They altered it a little bit. Maureen's got views on what the Australians are trying to do and have done, and the Kennel Club in the UK have also had a recent breed standard revisal. They changed everything and brought it right up to June that the new standards were issued. So with that in mind, we're going to take it a little bit further today, open it up, and hopefully we can take back some views. And Maureen's got something interesting to say about stimulating the English Kennel Club as well. So if we have got time constraints. We have got an hour and a half. You've all got to get back to get yourself beautified for the dinner later on, or get your dogs ready. So if we can try and stick with this hour and a half, I know it's a lot to ask for. I'll try and be a chairman and try and, you know, I'm not going to be rude to anybody, but I will try and keep it, you know, as tight as we can, so we get to the end and we can all go off and have a nice dinner afterwards, still be friends. Okay? Right. So I hand you over to Mark Webber from Sweet Expressions, who along with Rosemary has got a very, very successful kennel and also earns a good living out of dog-related experiences. So Mark, you do your bit, and Maureen will probably do a better job of introducing herself when she speaks, okay? So,
maybe you can better introduce you now so we can...
Oh, okay. Look, I'll stand up because I can't see you at the back. My name's Maureen Robinson. I'm from Perth, Western Australia, breed under the Woollywood prefix. I'm a herding group judge. Have been involved in the breed since 1972.
never.
I have to admit.
Never.
First started looking overseas at the dogs in US, UK, Canada in 1978, and have been doing so since then regularly. But this is the first time to Europe, so I'm really, really excited to meet all of you people and see the dogs. That's it. That's it. Did you hear?
It's the first time I've met a quiet Australian.
And we'll be friends afterwards no matter what. That's what's good about these forums. So anything I take, please bear with me, because we love the breed. It's our passion. So let's get in there and fight for it.
Yeah. Okay, if anybody can't hear at the back, scream out, please. You know. Mark, all yours.
Okay. As Ray said, the reason we did this seminar is the revised breed standard by the FCI. Also that the Kennel Club is working on the English standard, and the Americans are changing or wanted to change their standard.
Did not pass.
Did not pass, but...
Yay!
we take a drink on that later. But that will not stop people to make another new standard. We had a nice discussion, Ray, Maureen and I, an hour ago about the origins of the breed, and that judging actually is going back to the origins of the breed. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this seminar is that I and quite some other people are feeling that we are losing quite a lot of the breed characteristics, and the dogs are changing. I found some nice pictures from Hopwood's book with dogs from the early 1900s, and for me it's important as a breeder, as a judge, to stick to the origins as much as possible. Of course, the breed has changed so much due to all the cosmetic stuff we can use now for our dogs, and makes coats much longer and more profuse, more glamorous. But I think if we shave our dogs, they're quite much like they were in the early days. And I think that's very important. And we know too many examples from breeds that have changed tremendously in the past 100 years. And don't look to their ancestors anymore. Just having an idea of some older dogs. Try to imagine with a little bit more of coat and a more of styling we do. I think we're doing pretty good. But still then we are losing quite some things, and that's why we have to discuss about that. Because we have one breed, we have 5 standards in the meantime, and we have, let's say, how many types? Or can we say we have only one type of Old English sheepdogs with some differences in bloodlines or in regions where they're bred they're from. That's why I like to quote Kai Haakenson in an interview of 1973, saying that all the breed characteristics in proper proportions makes the dog a member of the family he belongs to. And breed characteristics alone don't make a bobtail, there must be in proportions. As I think, personally, that many things in breed characteristics are not in proportions anymore. They are exaggerated, and that's one thing that we lose a lot of breed type. Maureen wants to pop in.
Yes, if you don't mind. I think this is where some of the exaggeration may have started, in my view. In Australia, we have still the standard that operated in the UK since before 1987. In that standard, we don't have the words square looking. That pre-1987 UK standard said compact, but not square. So where has this square come from? And I believe partly that some of the issues we've got with angulation and with other aspects of the breed is because people are trying to squeeze all of this dog into a square. And so we straighten the shoulders, we shift the pelvis so we get excessive angulation out the rear, and we get, So I think part of the differences in exaggeration may come from the introduction of those terms, square looking, into the standard. Similarly, rising top line. A rising top line is different from a slight arch over the loin. A slight arch over the loin is not the same thing as a rising top line, like a German Shepherd has a sloping top line.
98 standard says a strong, compact looking, of great symmetry. So that they've just taken the word square out, put it square in rather, taken the word compact out from the 1888 standard.
Can I just add one more? That standard also had in it free of all poodle characteristics. I don't know if you've heard this, but where I come from, people keep saying, is that a variety of poodle? Because you have got their people there with teasing and sprays and cutting. And that's gone. So again, to me, this is a key to where some of that exaggeration is coming from.
Yes, the changes in standards in the past 20, 30 years changed quite a lot. But the picture of an old-fashioned classic Old English sheepdog may not change. And that's one thing that we have to stick to. And the interpretation of the standard makes it much more important. And that's why we have to discuss certain things. As Maureen said, there is a difference in a gentilizing top line or a rise over loins. And I know from several translations that it is translated in different ways, in wrong ways, in different languages. And nowadays with the dramatic drop of entries on shows, most of the shows are judged by all rounders or all breed judges, not by breed specialists anymore. For example, in Holland this year, from all the international shows, there is only one show where the dogs will be judged by a breed specialist. The other 14, 15 shows by all-rounders. I know in Denmark next year, no breed specialists at all at international shows. So we have this interpretation of the standard, we have our goals, we have our picture, which is different than the standard is, which not should be. And we have to deal with all-rounders, with judges that are not from the breed and have totally different view on what makes a bobtail, the breed characteristics. And now more and more standards are changing. I think we will face some problems in the future with the breed. Are you popping?
No, carry on. Watching the time.
Yes.
Hang on to one slide too long.
Okay, just an extra sheet. Coated bobtail and what should be underneath. Very simple, everybody knows those kind of pictures and drawings. This is how the FCI standard at the moment is. On the right side, and on the left side some things, some remarks that from problems that I think that we face in the breed at the moment. Seeing quite a lot of dogs with small skulls, not the nice, broad, capacious, rather square heads, long muscles, the Pinocchios as we call them.
Can I just raise another one?
Yes?
Again, in the pre-1987 UK standard, which we still have, it calls for a fairly long jaw. So the fact that that fairly long came out of the standard means that you're saying, criticising dogs for having a longer jaw, when in fact the earlier breed requirement was to have a fairly long muzzle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, Claudia, you want to contribute something?
Yeah, if anybody's got something to say.
Please don't be quiet or just whispering around, just pop in. Please, that's why we want to have the discussions.
I don't like really long muzzles, so I was brought up with shorter muzzles, and that's what my eye prefers. And fairly long compared to what? A bulldog? So everything is open to interpretation. So what I'm hearing from the Australian lady is the language is sort of not what it should be, and we should be going back to something else. I want a square dog. I want to live within the parameters of the standard, and that's what I agreed to. If you want to change the standard, that's a whole other story. But in our breed in America, it's a square dog. Yours is a square-looking dog. That doesn't mean a beardy that can reach and drive like a beardy. Same way with the head. You don't get usually a long muzzle on a square, nice, big, capacious head. You get a shorter muzzle. And that's what I like to see on them.
And another thing is in our U.S. standard, the 1953 version, it said free of all poodle and deerhound characteristics, which to me means a long, narrow head without, our standard also says that you have the supraorbital arches over the eyes, which gives you that nice, you know, when I'm going over a dog, it goes whack up, you know, I want to see that good stop.
Yes, well-defined stop.
Yeah, as opposed to the poodle or the deerhound that do not have that, it's a longer, narrower head without that well-defined stop.
That comes from the 88 standard, that's the original standard.
Can we go back to the original photographs that you showed?
Yes.
And I've read many a critique of one of the top winning dogs at the time, and it's just nothing but wonderful, wonderful, wonderful all the way through. I mean, she does stand in the Tring Museum, and we tried to get her for the 1988 centenary show, but they said if we touch her, she will just disappear in a cloud of dust. So she has actually stood in the position she was for years. But I mean, I've seen her at the Tring Museum, as probably some other people have, and the thing that struck me was the size of her. She is very, very, very big. But she's huge. I mean, she's bigger than most dogs today, but she's all, I mean, she looks all dog. You know, she's a real butch lady. She looks lovely. You want to get your hands on her. You can't, of course. But I mean, she looks. The muzzle is there. You see her.
Yeah, but if she's big,
everything's in proportion. Everything's in proportion. What the standard says and what Mark said. Everything in proportion. But I mean, I've got hundreds of these photographs, and the quality is, you can see it in the photograph. The foundations that we've built today's dogs on are strong. I think what Mark and Maureen are trying to get over is, you know, please let's don't ruin those lovely foundations. Let's build on them. Let's get stronger, because it was all there. At the back, Mark.
Oh yes, please.
When I look at the pictures, they're very nice and square looking. But where is the gently spotlight?
It's there. This one not so much. But you see, these dogs probably had many other qualities, and the judges at the time were balancing up. And don't forget, when these standards was written, there were bunches of people coming from all over the place, all over England and Wales, all with their own idea of the type. And the standard written in 1888 is very much a compromise of everybody's opinions. And it is a very, very small standard to get over, as you were saying.
But they were also bringing their dogs straight from working from the fields, and they were working stock.
They were working stock. Yeah, I don't think any of these worked, but lots did. Press on, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, press on.
And really, for me, is mostly preserving from what is good and not changing a breed. Another problem we face in the breed is the quality of the teeth. I've seen so many bobtails from 4 or 5 years with so used teeth, looking like bites of dogs of 10 or 12 years old, and that is a concern. We will talk about fit for function later on, which is of course a big topic now in the UK, but also in Western Europe, and that's something we absolutely have to take care for. Like also the drop teeth. And what surprised me a lot in the past years, and I was lucky to go over dogs around Europe quite well, so many light eyes. There is a new problem, so-called new problem in the breed. And for me it's one thing that we have to pay a lot of attention to.
Do you have that, Maureen?
From my observation, there are some, but not the majority. It's not a major problem, I don't think, in our breed, in our country.
Yeah.
America?
And the Americans, Colleen?
there are certain lines that we definitely see light eyes in. I can say we had a bitch that had light eyes and we bred her to a dog, and in one generation we got dark, dark, dark. Like you really have to see the black and then the brown carefully to tell it apart. Some faults, it seems like, take many generations to fix. In that particular case, we were able to correct it in one generation. So, but yeah, I've seen some straw colored eyes, just yellow.
Yeah, yellow colored eyes,
And I don't
amber colored
like that.
eyes.
You know, the judge looks at the bite and then they usually look at the eye, and so it's sort of a first impression.
It's the first way and losing the expression in the dogs. The pear-shaped dog. No, it's not a sweet expression.
We used one of our dogs for that. And the point is?
And the point, no, there's no point in it, just that I found this picture and I liked it. Just wanted to share that.
And it has
but the pear shape is of course a very important breed characteristic, and we will talk later on angulations and losing also the pear shape in the breed.
Can I say that Mark is judging in England next year at the East Anglian show? So if you have any dogs like this, would you mind? Please bring them. We need your entry.
Well,
I might be able to.
I don't know if you can see the nice shape like here. It's
You can't see it on this.
you can't no.
No, it looks like a
Big. It's not an overly fat dog.
It's more an apple.
I have some prints and you can see it very nice in the print. It's but it's not a well-fed dog.
If you start, then
I'm trying to get over the point of a pear shape, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. It's
the pear shape comes from looking above,
yes.
not from behind.
Yeah.
Good point.
The body, rather short and compact, standard says, very sturdy, broad and gently arched in loin, and deep capacious brisket with well strong ribs. And the three kind of shapes, and the middle one is of course the right one for Old English. What we see now, at least what I see and maybe others too, is that we see quite a lot of dogs that are too long in body. Dogs lacking substance, flat top lines, and especially a flat top line is very important for the breed. That differs our dogs from many other breeds, that we have flat, that we have nice rise over loin, and you can say it quite harsh, but a dog with a flat top line or a bobtail with a flat top line is not a real bobtail. Just a very nice coated dog, but it's not a bobtail anymore.
Mark, can I come in here?
Yes, sure, please. Don't hesitate.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I've noticed it, I do look at photos of dogs, even though I haven't been to Europe. I have looked at quite a lot of photos of dogs here, but mainly from my observation elsewhere, there are a lot of people trying to get the breed too short. And as I said earlier, you compromise, either you straighten front and rear angulation, or you straighten front angulation and twist the pelvis to get the sweeping hindquarters. But in fact, our top line is not different from many breeds. Most of the working dogs, we call it the working dog, to you it's the herding breed, herding group. Most of our herding breeds have a slight arch over the top line, and I'm now studying hounds, and quite a lot of the hounds also have a slight arch over the loin. So I think we've got to be careful. It's good to have specialist judges, but from my point of view, sometimes it's really good to listen to the all breeds judges, because we think our breed's special, but we've got to look at it, again, with the fit for purpose idea behind there, we've got to look at our breed in context. What do other working dogs have in their breed standards? And so, yeah, I think we've got to be careful with this rising top line. I've got a bitch at the moment with a rising top line that looks like that. Now it's too steep. It's not a gentle arch over the loin. It's a rising top line, and I think it's wrong, and I would criticise her for that. So I think we've got to be careful that we foster the slight arch over the loin rather than a rising top line.
Yeah. Well, that's the yeah. Yes, please.
To my mind, there was a purpose for the gentle rising top line, and to get back to Kai in the quote earlier, he made a very, very good comment on that. A square-billed dog without the rising top line will never be able to breed and drive properly, whereas a square-billed dog with the rising top line gets the extra limbs out of that rise. And that was the reason why they were supposed to have it.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't think that it was just a minimal rise. It was a gentle, like this gentle, the German word for it by the way, is allmählich. So it's not going straight up, but gently rising.
Yes.
It was supposed to be a rise there, and there was a reason for that.
Yeah, and that makes the top lines of our breed so much different to other herding dogs, especially also to hounds.
Sorry, I'll agree to differ on that one.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
We've got to preserve the rise though. The rise is a trapdoor for people to fall through. If you're always mistaking a...
We can't hear you.
I'm saying that there's this trapdoor we've got to avoid of confusing a gentle rise and a sweep over the croup. You know, you've got to really be careful.
Yes, and I
we
think a
want the
lot
few
have
breeds
lost
of the
it.
rise, and we want to keep it.
One of the things that we're seeing in the States is there's certain lines that have a short upper arm. I mean, it's literally a short bone.
It's wrong.
And that makes the whole front assembly kind of fall down. So the all-round judge starts at the top of the shoulders and goes, oh, that's a nice rise. That's a nice top line.
This is the point we've got to get over to the all-rounders. They've got to understand what a rise is.
Yeah, it's
It's very...
over the loin, it's not the whole...
Yes, and that's the problem we have with a lot of all-rounders and group judges these days.
I have a question.
But also because of the wrong wording in the standard.
I have a question about gentle. Because the English word gentle is very hard to translate into another language. For instance, in the Dutch language. So we discussed it a lot. And my question is the gentle rise to the loin, the rise without interruption, or is it the rise just leave it gentle?
No, it's one without interruption.
No, it's a
After
little...
interruption can be solved.
You'll never get that.
Surely it's just a gradual rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small gradual rise.
Yeah.
Like a gradual
Most judges put their hands on the withers. They put their hands on the top of the highest point, and there is a distinct and noticeable difference.
Yes.
Not the high interruption.
No, definitely not.
But you're seeing top lines now where you could have your dinner off them. They're so flat.
Can I ask, some people stand their dogs with their hocks well behind the ischium, right? That's going to drop the top line automatically. Do your judges correct the stance? And why are you? Are you trying to emphasise the hindquarters by standing them that far back? Because it's not the way the breed is supposed to be. To my mind, it's not what I want to see in looking at an Old English sheepdog. Is its rear feet this far
Like a
behind
German
you.
Shepherd or something.
Yes.
Okay. Neck. Also, some wording you can discuss hours about. At a very long, strong, arched, gracefully neck. The shoulders well laid back, being narrow at the point of withers and at the point of shoulder. No, the shoulders undesirable. Is one thing that we have to take care for as well. The exaggeration goes that some breeders try to breed Old English that are square-looking cobby dogs with very long necks. Some people misunderstood fairly for very long. And so we'll be breeding giraffes. And often very long necks that are not arched, which is totally incorrect, but very flashy. And it works very good in the main ring. But it's not, for me, the breed typical Old English sheepdog. On the other hand, those dogs with the very long necks, with sometimes over-angulations in front and in rear, moves not typical for the breed anymore. And we see them more and more. On one hand, on the other hand, the very compact, very cobby dogs with very straight shoulders, often with very broad shoulders, with no movement, with inefficient movement, often also with a very much top line or with flat top lines. There are changes I see in the show ring. And I think that's one thing that we have to look at. And don't forget that it should be a well laid back dog with a good brisket as written in the standard. Otherwise we would lose also the breed typical pier shape and the strong, well-sprung brisket. If we when we breed and judge too much to the dogs with a very long neck and with very angulated shoulders and rears. There's a change in type. Ray, Maureen?
Yeah, I think
you would say something on that statement.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd make it as a statement to discuss, please. Pop in if you...
The necks are now getting to a point where you're losing balance, the dog. The dog could have a correct length of back, it looks square shaped perfectly, but if it has a short neck, it looks out of balance. It's the neck should be in balance with the size of the shape of the dog. It just gives it that overall, when you're standing there, it should knock your eyes out. You think, that's lovely. It's so beautifully balanced. Because the neck, nowadays in Europe and certainly in the UK, our necks are getting so short now, they're losing that overall balance. And it's something we really should be watching out for, short neck. Oh, thank you. It's up to you. I mean, we've got a very knowledgeable... We're talking to the converted here today. These are the interested people, the people that come here. There's a lot of knowledge sitting in this hall. It's them to get it out there. We've got to tell people that come to use our dogs. You know, the breeders need to know. I know you tend to get on a soapbox and start spouting, but we've got to get this message out that things are going wrong.
But I've written on certain points to the FCI and the Kennel Club about certain things and about educating judges. The FCI ignore me completely, and the Kennel Club say it has to go back to the breed clubs to make sure that their judges fully understand the standard. So where do we go? People don't want to know.
Well, we take it. We try and do something here. We take it further from here.
Well,
Maureen, maybe it's a good time to say what you said earlier about tub thumping and trying to kick the Kennel Club up the backside.
Yeah.
You know?
We're from our great southern land down there, we're fighting to retain the pre-1987 UK standard. And we're doing that. We have a council which is formed by all the state clubs. There are 5 states which have Old English Sheepdog clubs. Each club is a member of the National Council. we have had a vote of all of our state clubs, and they unanimously said we do not want to change to the new country of origin FCI standard. And we're fighting that at the moment with the Kennel Club. And that fight is happening largely because of the fit for purpose pressure from the animal welfare, animal rights movement. So we're fighting that, and we're going to continue to fight it because this is unanimous across Australia. So all of the people in the clubs voted to get their club point of view, and each of those clubs cast a vote to get the national position, and we're carrying that now to the Kennel Club and saying we're going to fight for this. Now, we don't have to. If you don't like this, and if you don't like the fact that judges are not being trained adequately, then forums like this, which are joint forums of the experts and the ones that are really seriously passionate about the breed, are a good mechanism to lever the Kennel Club, possibly. So things like taking the opinion from a meeting like this and presenting it to the Kennel Club and say, those people who met representing most of the countries with Old English sheepdogs in the world, we want this to happen or we don't want that to happen, then that might influence the Kennel Club so that you individually try, but as clubs you try, and then possibly as larger groups you try. I have to believe that because, I mean, otherwise we give up. And to me, giving up is not an option.
We suffer as a breed. I've got to say it. We suffer as a breed because in England we don't have a breed council. If we all got together and we could all put our petty jealousies aside or politics or whatever it is and all come together and for the good of the breed join up and take it further, the Kennel Club would listen to a breed council. In fact, they've said it to me, they will only listen to a breed council. So,
but we have that breed council.
Can I raise something against house standards?
I speak from my heart. I know what happened, I was there. You know? But it leads to... They overruled, I agree. Absolutely. I agree, totally right. This is what we're dealing with. Now there's change at the Kennel Club now. There's this Fit for Function campaign that's come along that's kicked them up the backside. I have my fights with some of these animal rights people, but they're right on some of these things. You've got to say they were absolutely right. And if the Fit for Function, if you understand what it means the dog bred to do the job it was meant for. It means turning the clock back, and some people won't like that because they've already got a kennel full of soft-coated dogs. What do? It doesn't fit the standard. Okay. I'm sorry. The standard's the standard. That's what it says. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You breed to the standard.
Or breed poodles.
You know?
Oh, even they have partially.
Breed taken the views from our seminars for years. I'm being presented to the Kennel Club. They're not interested.
Well, there's change. We can say there's a wind of change. We've got a new chairman of the Kennel Club as of last Monday. Things are happening. The Fit for Function campaign has opened people's eyes and they said, yes, a bulldog couldn't go into a ring and fight a bull anymore because his legs are this long and he can't breathe. That's, you know, anyway, I'm not going to go on about it, but you know, this is what we're here to do. And
yes. And anyway, English are strange people.
We love them.
And Old English are even stranger.
Definitely, without any doubt. Back to serious.
More serious.
More serious. In red and wolf are the new amendments in the FCI standard, which is official since January this year. Not to exaggerated angulations in these. Parallel hogs viewed from behind. And on the left side is things that we should consider as a problem. A lack of angulations.
There's
Too much
lot
straight.
that have no angulation, no bend stifle.
Huh?
There's an awful lot that
or weak?
Yes.
High hocks.
Very many dogs who are soft in hocks. Yes. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, but also a lot of single hocks. That comes together, of course. There's one side, the type with too much straight angulations, too straight angulations, the other side, a kind of type with over angulations, but hocks is definitely a problem. And I know too many judges are not paying attention to it. And sometimes for a not trained eye, it's also not easy to pay attention to.
Yeah, but if you're a judge, you should be able to see it.
Yes, but
that's what you're judged for.
Exactly. But that sometimes makes also the difference between an all-breed judge and a breeder judge, or breed specialist. And I was shocked to find so many problems in hocks all over Europe, in all kind of different bloodlines.
It's everywhere, I think, Mark.
Yes.
Can I say that's one of the things that I thought had improved in the breed markedly between the 70s and the 90s, and to me it's somewhere around the 90s to now that we've gone back to the hocks, the weak hocks that we used to have. They've gone taller, higher hocks, and we're getting more sickle hocks and more cow hocks. Again, I've got one that I live with. I love her, but her hock just...
Yeah, the high-set hocks in dogs with lacking angulations, a lot of soft hocks and sickle hocks, cow hocks in dogs with over-angulation. It comes together in many examples. But that's one thing that is very important, because without good hocks, a dog can't move properly. We often forget. Marie, please.
Yes, the other thing, talking about angulation, if you look at the photos, many photos of dogs, people presenting dogs best in show, best this, best something else, and look at the front. Does it go straight down? Are the front legs under the ears, or are they under the withers? They should be under the withers. So if you look at that and see a dog where the outline goes straight down, that's wrong, that's very wrong. And the rears, I'm finding more and more that we're getting cycling rear movement. Now that's fine if you've got a boxer and a Doberman, it's not fine in an old English sheepdog. And it's compensating for the fact that they haven't got enough body room. Mm-hmm. Again, it goes back to, I feel, there's so much emphasis being put on shortening the body that they have to go out the back because they can't go under.
Yeah.
And so you're getting this cycling action. So I think we've got to watch for that too.
Yes.
Do we have a breed?
Yes, we have a beautiful breed. Has anybody seen a perfect dog? No.
Just them at home, shaven and...
No, we don't have a perfect dog. And that's our goal for breeding. I press. The hocks. Well, another problem in the breed is, for many judges and also judges I speak that are not from Old English, that they say that judging Old English is a very difficult job. And but on the other hand, often it's also one of the easiest breeds to judge for a not specialized judge, because there's so much coat that you often don't see what's underneath. So if there is a lack of knowledge for the breed by the judge, it's very easy to put up the well-groomed, well-assisted, well-handled dog, which is not particularly the best dog anyway, should not be the best dog anyway, and taken for granted. And of course, the most people here know how to make a dog as good as possible for the showing and use and to use their scissors.
That's another seminar.
That's another seminar.
Really nice, that is.
No, but
we can always shorten it.
Yeah. Well, I have a sheet about that too. And the movement. Dogs that are very narrow around in rear is a concern. Dogs with not enough drive, short steps, or the unsound ungulated dogs that are overreaching. There are 4 points that we have to take care for, in my opinion. I would love, of course, to hear your opinion about that, as movement is one of the most important things in a dog. So
Mark,
please.
in the States, I would say we see a lot of dogs with a lot more drive than reach. I'm looking for balance, front to rear, and there are a lot of dogs that really drive, but they don't have the reach to match.
No. Oh, yeah. It should start with balance, with soundness. And that's the most important thing for a dog. And I know, and I saw also the dogs in America that are not sound.
Yeah, but a lot of it is handling, isn't it?
Sorry?
A lot of it is handling. People can't handle dogs.
Also.
They don't move the dogs at the speed the dogs should move at.
And they string them up.
Stringing them up.
Yes.
Their front feet are coming up in the air. They're dancing.
Well, as an old English should be handled by loose leash.
A lot of them think they should have an Old English with its head up, moving with its head around.
Yes.
Sorry. Like that.
Everybody's in the front that didn't hear you.
I was saying a lot of people seem to think the Old English should go around the room with its head in the air, moving high. It doesn't move like that.
Which now is forbidden by the FCI regulations.
I've been to shows abroad and the judges said to me, I want you to move your dog with its head up. I said, she won't move with her head up, it's natural to move down.
Well, these are the people we've got to educate.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with the dog. In fact,
They're trying to string them up.
you can have a perfectly good dog completely ruined by handling.
Yes. But the new FCI regulations say that we have to show dogs now with loose leashes.
Is it? Does it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's well, mate.
Don't the judges know that?
The problem is that it is published on the website of the FCI in some secret corner. But it's
I mean,
published.
if you're looking in the honoring and all these handles, I mean, they string up the dogs.
Yeah. And for no reason, Old English should be handled like terriers.
Yeah, we're not.
Definitely not.
No,
But
fox terriers, no.
yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that movement is a big concern in the breed. Yes, sorry.
One more about drive. Now there's a lot of cocktails on the scene in the ring. It looks like very much to drive, but the back leg is only a few times on the ground, and most of the time in the air.
Yes.
It looks very, very nice, but that's not a strong drive in my opinion. What do you others say?
Totally agree.
So, and then you see what you said here. You have not too far reach, you have only a short reach, but the back the legs are very, very high and looking at a lot of drive, but you don't have a lot of drive because his back leg landed too far before the hip.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only a few times on the ground, then leave the ground, and some do the hip bone, I think. What do you call it?
Yeah, often seen in dogs with over-angulated rears. Just some pictures. And a video. Of an okay.
Hudson.
Oh.
Yes, it's Hudson.
Doesn't matter who it is.
We're true. They thought they picked out an anonymous dog here.
That's the best in show.
Yes, and I love this clip because you now can see quite a lot of dog and not coat.
You can see the hand.
Yeah, he's actually on the video he's 12 years.
Yeah.
The speed of the clip now is not perfect.
Yeah, it was a bit.
Yes. But this is a very nice sound moving dog.
Je ziet dat het riempje niet staat.
And it's a veteran.
12 years old.
12 years old.
It's still
When it comes to
too much in the rear. Sorry.
That's
I don't
equivalent
agree.
to an 84-year-old, isn't it? Moving that one.
Well, this is another one.
Yeah, but I didn't like the movement of the first one.
The picture's a bit jumpy a bit.
Auto-herstelbestand, Mark.
Nee.
I didn't like his movement. He was too much this.
Can I raise one more?
Maureen, please.
The slide at the end there that hasn't come up yet about temperament.
Yes, that's another thing we have to discuss.
We've
Yeah.
got there yet.
No, but can. Okay. Oh.
Ja, super.
This was also where Eve was talking about. What we sometimes also see. So, another clip. You can see what kind of movement.
You make your mind up. You're the judge.
Yes.
It's like a collie, so it's richtig der Collies, oder? Schnüren. Oh, okay.
I don't know which dog it is and I don't mind. But it is movement what we see in European rings as well.
Her movement is okay.
Well, maybe there is no body underneath. Oh, her. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a body underneath.
Can you change the breed?
I think you're speaking on.
I got her. I got her now.
I was expecting it from a bloke, not from a woman.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Okay, one important thing, but it also goes back to fit for function and all the discussion what is going on in England, but also in Europe, where the Swedish Kennel Club and the Dutch Kennel Club now wrote also a brochure with all the problems for every single breed. One important thing is also behavior and temperament, and we can talk about that for hours. The standard is very simple in that. A biddable dog of even disposition, bold, faithful, trustworthy, no suggestion of nervousness or unprovoked aggression. That's the ideal bobtail. And if we want to breed the ideal bobtail, we will never achieve that on conformation. But we can breed a perfect bobtail in temperament. And for me, actually, every single bred bobtail should be perfect in temperament.
How many are?
That's the most important thing. We in this room are quite a lot of show people, and let's say that we show our dogs when we have a busy year, 20 times a year, 20 days a year. that makes us 345 days living with that dog as a pet, as a family dog. For puppy owners, it's 365, multiplied with 12 or 14 hopefully, and they must get a perfect family member. That's one reason. And of course it comes quite a lot together when it comes for behavior and temperament. Of course socialization is very important. Breeders should socialize their dogs from the beginning. That starts right after birth. And the first learning experiences puppies have is within 15 minutes after birth. Well, the very responsible breeders, as we converted are, hopefully, weigh our puppies every day. So they have a contact with people right from the beginning, almost 15 minutes after birth, when they're still wet and we weigh our dogs. And that's the first thing where it starts.
Maar geen lezing over behavior.
Yeah.
That's too much time.
And then the whole other socialization, puppy training, etc. But behavior is also a genetic thing. And we only should breed with dogs that fits in a biddable dog of even disposition, no suggestion of nervousness, of unprovoked aggression. And unfortunately, I met, no, let's say different. Some people know that I work as a behavior therapist. I work with problem behaviors. And I have all kind of problem dogs from all breeds in training. Also, all the English sheepdogs. Unfortunately. But I also see those dogs in showings. When I go to shows to watch or to judge, and I must say, unfortunately, and it's a shame, that I had to put dogs back in grading and placement in several countries due to their behavior in the ring. And behavior in the ring is usually also a trained behavior. And if a dog is still, with training, not behaving correctly, then it has a problem. The breed has a problem. Fellow breeders has a problem, puppy breeders have a problem. There's one thing that we in the breed, as judges and breeders, should pay a lot of attention to. It's not normal when a dog is nervous in the ring. It's not normal when he behaves with fear. It's not normal when it reacts aggressive to other people or to other dogs. Even if it has a beautiful top line, the most beautiful dark eyes and fully pigmented and lovely teeth and correct movement, it's absolutely atypical dog. And the FCI regulations, and I think it will be the same for America and Australia, says that those dogs has to be disqualified.
How many judges do it?
We don't see it, not one time.
So he was bitten. He was badly bitten in the ring recently.
Yes, no.
I've had several dogs go for me, and the handlers always say, "Oh, because you're a man. They don't. He doesn't like a man. She doesn't like a man."
Yeah. When you summarize, it should not be like the left picture, which was made for me 2 months ago when I judged all the English sheepdogs. You can't see it so good, and I'm even less handsome then than now.
Covered in blood.
It was a picture made after judging all the English. When one dog didn't like me so much and bit me to hospital.
Yes,
He bit me in the face, I had 4 wounds in my face, unexpectedly. It was in a class, I can say it was in a class where we split up. I judged the dog and another dog was standing. The dog didn't show any signs of issues. And I'm used to see that, and I'm trained to recognize those body language. And after teeth control, after checking the teeth, it jumped up and bit me in the face. was not that very nice. But what I more prefer is on the right side, with a puppy kissing the judge. That was one of the best pictures I found on the internet in the last couple of months. And what I see, and I heard it also from fellow judges, aggression to other dogs, to people, a lot of nervous behavior, suspicious behavior, and we should pay any attention to that. Any problems with behavior in Australia, Marie?
I've never seen a situation that you've described, but we are starting to see some what I call ADD dogs.
What's ADD?
Their behavior
hyperactive, uncontrollable. So that's not a biddable dog. A biddable dog is one that responds to you and has their mind on you more than what they want to do. And so there's not a lot of aggression that I can see generally, but there is starting to creep in some of this other behaviour. And I think that's possibly a preliminary to the aggression.
Dogs that can't even stand the sound of applause at the ringside, that fall to pieces when a plane goes over or something like that when you're judging them, and then the handler asks you, "Could you mind just waiting a minute, judge it when the noise has died down?" I mean, I feel like saying, could you imagine saying that to an old drover, who's trying to keep the thieves away, Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It depends on the age.
It comes back to fit for function, Would it do its job? No, it wouldn't.
No, but I think it depends a bit on age. I mean, puppies and younger dogs, they can be a bit shy in the ring for the first time. That's normal. You have to consider that as a judge.
I'm talking about when you're giving
grown
major
dogs,
honours. Major honours in the ring, and the lady says to you, "I'm sorry, I wish you was a woman, because he doesn't like men, so would you just allow a little bit, and would you wait until that man stopped clapping, and then they expect first prize?"
No.
It doesn't happen.
I'm suggesting you cross-dress if you have a problem with
Sorry?
I'm being naughty.
Okay, again. Colleen?
All I can say is when we are grooming our dogs at the shows and they're laying on their sides on the grooming tables, and we have many not dog show people, just normal people come through, and they invariably have children that want to come and see our sheepdogs, and their little faces are right the same level as our dogs are on the grooming table, and I am so thankful. I don't need to worry that one of my dogs is going to grab the kid in the face, because the kids will just come right up and, "Oh, look at the dog!" I just, half the time they're sound asleep. The dogs are.
The one thing that I would say is it can happen in any litter and any breeding that you get what you don't want. And you have to have the knowledge that if you keep something that's beautiful with a bad temperament, you're going to get puppies with bad temperament. So you might as well cut it in the quick and say, okay, this puppy is not going to make it as a show dog because whatever temperament it is, it's not suited for what we're looking for. It's out of the breeding program. The dog that I got bit by, his sire bit people, her sire bit people, and the breeder just sort of tried to explain it away. But you do yourself a disservice by allowing it to continue in your breeding program because it's just going to come back. So you're not helping yourself, and you're certainly not helping the breed. So get rid of it. There's lots of stud dogs out there. Same with bitches. There's lots of bitches out there. Be willing to look around. And we never breed to a dog unless we had the temperament in front of us. And one of our dearest friends had this absolutely beautiful dog, and we came over to go over the dog, and the owner is holding bait, and we were hearing something rumbling, and we're wondering what it is, and the dog was growling, and we said, we love you guys to death, but there's no way in hell we're going to breed to this dog. And nobody bred to him. It went the way it should have gone, which was to a pet home. Not easy to do, because we get attached to it.
Abe?
That's, for me, I think a sentence like this in a breed standard, it should not be necessary. Generally, I mean, because we are breeding dogs, and my first concern is to breed a healthy dog. That's one of my first concerns. The second is that he has a good character, but he has to live his whole life with people. So for me, that sentence must be for every dog, every kind of dog, every breed, because we are breeding dogs to live with people for their whole life. People who just want to have a dog in the family. So
most of the breeds.
I was pleased to see in a recent survey, the past few weeks in England, the bobtail came out third on a list of vets' best temperament dogs.
That's great to hear.
It was the Labrador was top, the Golden Retriever was second, and the Old English Sheepdog came third. So it's nice to hear some good, positive publicity.
For the vets,
it came from vets.
Yes, of course, because they jumped themselves on the table. They don't have to.
We pay well. We've got to press on, guys, because we've got 15 minutes, okay?
Yeah, just 15 minutes and then coach. And we can talk about that for many seminars and day seminars.
Mark, can you read it?
An American asked what's written over there. Neither the natural outline for natural texture of the coat may be changed by artificial means except for the feet and baby between for cleanliness.
Who wrote that?
The American.
This is the bit you lot ignore, right? This is the bit we don't see when we're looking at the standard.
That is not in order standard.
That's in an American standard, yes.
Is it?
Copy paste. Copy paste.
Colleen, is that in the standard?
No!
Yes, copy paste.
That's not in the standard.
Copy paste.
As close.
But it's at the very end.
It was written in invisible ink.
Yes, yeah.
That's certainly not the official standard.
It is, Lorraine.
Lorraine.
It is. Sorry.
It's there, kid.
We've been having this argument for
Yeah.
30-something years.
And I think that says it all. Rest your case. Press on.
Can I say something though? I've gone over a lot of dogs, and I can tell you, there is not a product in the world that I am personally familiar with that you can put on a soft-coated Old English Sheepdog that will give it the texture of a good, correct,
I agree.
Oh yes, there is.
But then when you go and put a handful of chalk on top of that, and then you add a little bit of this, come on, I've been in the breed 42 years, and you know, I've judged in countries where I've had to wash my hands after every dog. And some of them are still sticky after the dog, you know, L-net, you name it. I've had every hair product on my hand.
Everything.
Oh.
You didn't use it on your hair, man.
It's a shame.
Yes. But also important
But we
because
all like it. We all do it.
No,
yes.
we don't.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, we do.
But if you forget the grooming, there's a lot of problems in coats. So many soft coats, some dogs lacking undercoat, no break anymore, even when it's not in the standard anymore. Too curly, and the so-called sheeps. Brownish dogs, adult dogs with black coats. I think we should pay a lot of attention to that. We spoke to that before of the seminar for the fit for function part, also for the codes.
We were talking about if a modern day dog could go back in time and do a day's work, could be out in an English wintry day, I mean, would it survive? I don't think many would. I mean, there's a lot of softness. I mean, you just don't find this bit here, no break. I mean, you rarely see a break in a coat nowadays where it's either groomed out or it's not bred in.
Or cut off.
You know, it's
Or cut off.
those early photographs you showed that were up there. All those dogs had that little wave. That was the break, and it was hard. The coat was wiry. You just rarely find it today to that standard. It's in dogs, yes, it's there, but not to that standard.
When you show that coat, it's very hard to keep it.
It's hard to keep off. It's brittle. It breaks off.
Oil and wrap.
Yeah. It used to be hard work.
Yeah.
But you don't find it nowadays. When you do get one, it's, you almost want to sing out, you know? Anyway, we've got 10 minutes.
Okay, yes.
Questions?
Yes,
or
a
discussions?
quick question.
I want to say for 25%.
Speak up.
Little louder.
About scissoring and clipping. Please, scissoring and clipping. Everybody, and most of the people, 95% of the people, goes to the show. They want it to win. Whether the dog is nice or not nice, they want it to win. So they prepare their dogs for the show. Then I see a dog with scissors and clip like a poodle. Now he's
Not at the rear, I hope.
Huh?
Not at the rear, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, what you see, and if such a dog wins a show, doesn't breed, then every other people who watch the win look at that dog and say, that's the kind that should win. But the only one, really the only one who can do something about it, if they want to, is the judge.
I agree.
Don't see it. You see everywhere, when a dog is winning, most of them are very, very, very much system.
The judge can bring and make the dog.
That's just what I want to say.
That's
A quick question.
It was about the same, and I would like to ask you that you passed the previous presentation about this in 2 minutes without no discussion. And I would like to know why would we do that? And why we don't try to stop it? Because there are many reasons. First of all, the standard. Second, there are many people, new people, no breeders, new owners that would like to go to a show, to show a dog, but they are unable to do all these things.
Yes.
That's why we lose them.
Like a monster.
We try to bring people close to the dog age, and the people says, why you do this?
Why?
Why you do this? And we cannot do an answer.
Yes, is it up to every individual judge? I agree with you. To say, I'm not putting up with that, I will only put up, well, they'll use their hands, their eyes, and they will judge the dog. They will see through all that. You go through the presentation is wonderful. I love the presentation we have in our breed. I would draw a line over scissoring. I'm probably one of the hardest ones on it. I like to see a dog unclipped. But I understand taking off the dead ends. I understand keeping it into some sort of presentation. I was pleasantly surprised when I judged in America recently, because, all right, maybe all the overclipped ones had stayed at home, but what was there were not excessive.
Yes.
You know, and you were there, you saw it was quite within bounds. In a perfect world, I would have liked some of them, they were a little bit over the top perhaps, but they didn't get the first prizes.
No.
There's nothing worse than a young newcomer coming to the ring and thinking, I've got a fantastic dog, but I can never present as well as that person. Therefore, I will be down the line.
That scares people off.
They would not. I can tell you now, they would not under me. I would give equal, and I say that in front of everybody, and I'll be held to account if I didn't do it?
But we saw it in every show. In every show, we saw all over the clipped bobtails.
Yeah.
We saw them. Don't be behind our finger. In every show, we see this.
Yeah. It starts in a fashion, and it's also a little bit what I meant before, is that since we have more around us and group judges doing our dogs and less breed specialists, it's often easier for not experienced judges to put up the dogs that are groomed and presented as wonderful as possible. Yes. And those dogs are put up. Those dogs are put up in the main ring, and that is what people see and scares off. Yes, that is often a problem. Yeah.
That is the problem.
But I would like to tell me what we can do and what we don't do something about this.
You leave the coat on the dog, and you don't have it in your coat. Leave it on the dog.
We say we had to survive for the 2009 Euro show. It's also on the website of the Euro show, so everybody can read it back. Saying that more than 90% said that the judge have to do something with that. Give the dog an excellent, but not a ticket. Not an excellent, a disqualification, and just 8% said ignore the clipping. But since then, it's 2 years ago, nothing has changed. But nobody takes the risk as well to go in a ring with a less clipped dog.
Yeah,
so it
because
comes,
they all want the win.
Yeah. So it's not just the judge, but also the handlers, the exhibitors must show the guts to go in the ring if dogs are not so represented.
I'm showing for 35 years, reading for 35 years, and when I joined about 15, 20 years, I had the strong will to go in the ring without clipping, without brushing, without presenting. I tried 5 months. I didn't win anymore, and I get on my report, exhibitor is not motivated today.
No, that's one thing I absolutely disagree with you, Dave, because now you prove what I said. Everybody wants to win, so everybody does what they think the judge like.
Yeah.
And the judge gets just those dogs. And if you have overclipped dogs and overgroomed dogs, and that is the quality, and nobody shows up with proper groomed dogs, what should a judge put up? You did the same.
Put the dog down.
But don't confuse
clipping
with good presentation. There's a difference. You can do good presentation without scissoring and clipping. That's nice.
But people see others do that and copy that behavior.
I have a question.
Yes.
We are breeders, we are owners. The question is, do you, the judges, have seminars? Because we are trying here to solve the standard, but I don't know if the judges have a seminar.
No, they don't.
No.
In UK they do not.
We do.
In UK they do not have training.
Not a seminar.
Where? Where do they have training?
But the big problem is in this room now there are several judges.
Where do you go for training?
And the same people always show up at every seminar. And I'm almost positive that the judges here in this room all agree on this topic. But there's so many outside. Sorry, Christine wants to add.
Exactly. I agree with what you just said, because quite honestly, when you look at the amount of people in here, now there are 150 dogs entered for tomorrow, 240 people entered for the gala evening. Where is everyone?
Definitely.
Mark, I'd like to say something. A statistic just came out in the U.S. that the AKC has 50% less litter registrations, which everybody registers their litters, in the U.S. than 10 years ago in Old English sheepdogs. So right there, we're seeing a huge drop-off. But what I'm confused about is, I've mentored a lot of people. I have mentored judges at our national specialties. The thing that I find novices having a challenge with, it's not the scissoring. It's, in the US, we keep all the undercoat. And so it's preventing your dog from becoming one big matted felt.
Fluffy ball.
That's what novices.
No, I disagree.
No, totally.
Not the scissoring.
I'm saying that novices, when they get their first Old English sheepdog, the thing that really puts them off, that they find the most challenging in keeping their dog groomed for the show ring, is to prevent matting.
But then you have a problem. You have too much underwool.
That's
in
right.
Your
We've got
then you
the
have
wrong
to breed
coats.
another coat.
No top coat.
We've got the wrong
With
coats.
less undercoat.
If we've got coats,
Okay, keep
Guys,
it simple, please.
guys,
if we've got coats,
guys, we got about 2 minutes.
if we've got excessive coats, that will happen. But I'm sorry, I don't accept, and I've seen a lot of American dogs in a lot of rings. And it's not because we're keeping them clean or we're keeping them neat or stopping them. Sorry, I just don't accept that. We're breeding too much coat, we're breeding too much undercoat, we're breeding soft coats, and those soft coats mat more. Let's breed less coat, less volume, but better quality. And we'll have less of the problem of care.
Can I just say, following on that, we've got 1 minute left.
Yes, we got Leo has a question.
Let me just round that up because we really are running out of time. The Kennel Club have issued this fit for function thing.
Yes.
As a spin-off from the fit for function, they've asked every breed to highlight what is the problem in their breed. If you go onto the Kennel Club website, go onto Breed Watch, go onto Old English Sheepdogs, you'll find the only thing that is in our Breed Watch is excessive coats. That is the only thing that the Kennel Club see as something to watch out for in our breed. If you feel that there are other things we should add to that list, then we've got to campaign and get it on that list. But at the moment, the only thing we've got to worry about, according to the Kennel Club, is the excessive coats. Now, if I could just ask Mark to round up, because we've been told we've got to get out at 5:30, so, and it's that now.
Yes, please. Just to finish with some pictures. Older, newer, different styles. English, European, American. Just as an extra. We skip that for next year. We skip that for next year. We skip that for next year. Okay, thank you all for your contribution. Good luck tomorrow. And for me, special thanks to Maureen and Ray for their input and Tony Nielsen for the clips.
Well done, Mark.
On behalf of the organization, I'd like to thank these people who make this discussion possible for us. Thank you very much.
And please let's continue the discussions with beers, wines, and in informal settings, because that's what it's all about here in the USA.
So when we see the scissors, it leads to everybody